Welcome everybody to another Monday and it's another House of Dragon review. With myself and Roy. I really feel like we just go into this one. Like there's no
Preamble.
being a
I said there's no preamble.
no, there's none. I don't think this episode deserves one. I feel like the discussion is gonna be I feel like it's gonna be a good one. So let's just get right into it. What did you think?
I think that this episode was very similar to me to the first one, which is there's some things I liked a lot in the episode.
Yes.
And then in the middle of it, there was something that was so abominable that it made me want to it honestly made me want to throw up. Like, I do not know what happened for 5 to 10 minutes in that show after.
Wow.
I mean, I know in the sense, but I was just not processing all those sequences until almost the episode was over. I was just like, what the fuck did I kept saying to my wife, the whole time, from the minute she left the Red Keep, I was like, oh fuck, they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. And this episode, I'm trying really hard,
to age her.
But also how do I put this? So you know that in Endgame when Thanos says you can run from destiny, you can hide from it, you can do whatever, but it comes all the same. That is me and what happened in this episode. Because I knew that there was stuff
you
with
can
this,
run from it.
But House of the Fire and Blood, I can't. I'm trying to frame my conversations to not spoil anything that happens later in Fire and Blood. But this sequence had multiple interpretations. I've said in many of these episodes that one of the tricks that Martin does, because it's a fake history book, is he's like, well, something happened, some scandal with Rhaenyra, and it could be. I mean, there's even grosser stuff in the book, or it could be something else, or it could be this, it could be that, and you can mix and match whichever you think is happy, based on your interpretation of the characters. So the writers had a variety of perspectives to choose from, and the fact that they chose that one was so upsetting to me, Mo. I think I was really underselling it in the group chat last night. How fucked up.
Let it all out. Let it all out right now. This is
right now. Well, yes. I hate. Well, what you say your thing. I'll go more about
okay. Oh man, I'm not ever gonna disagree with anything you're saying right now. I'm not gonna disagree with the fact that it was gross. I'm not gonna disagree with the fact that just from what you said. Now that I know that there was 30,000 interpretations, I'm just throwing out a arbitrary number. I'm not gonna disagree with anything because they could have done anything. I haven't read the books, but what I know from when Ned was going through the history books or the fake history book, right? He was fair of hair, and then he started putting two and two together from that point, and then from the tower, with Bran in Song of Fire and Ice. I know these things. Mm-hmm. I know these things, but in episode 1, when he gave her the necklace, I think I called it.
Well, you said, I tried my best not to tell you what was going to happen. So,
so whole time I'm watching this, right? I'm like, I called this. So I'm because I guess that was easier for me me saying I called this made it easier for me to digest, right?
Yeah.
Me saying I called it. I'm so grateful to the show for it, aging her.
Yeah, I mean, she's still 17.
No. This is another year, right?
This is another year. Okay.
The little baby's born.
It's literally the same actress, so it's hard sometimes.
But she's
18 now.
18, 8 and 10. Right? She's 10 and 8.
Oh, that even just put it that way makes me feel gross.
So yes, it made it easier. It didn't. It's not. It's like when you have a cold or when you're sick and you have to eat and or you have to take medicine and my mom would put sugar or something. Or
sugar is not what I would describe. Saying that the actress is now playing a character who's 18.
Oh, I know. Maybe not sugar. Lemon or something, just to make it.
Yeah.
Right. So something was that's something that made it easier to digest. All those little ingredients that I said, from Song of Fire and Ice episode 1, we're like literally introduced to Lannister's fucking.
Yeah, I mean Martin is obsessed with incest. Like
He is.
that's why
It's showing. And then when Ned is reading the history book, like was it Targaryen or Lannister
it's
history
about
book?
the like lines of it's like the
Yes,
history
he's reading
of
that. He's like, he
great
goes
houses.
fair of hair. So he's starting to put two and two together. I
The seed
all
is
of that.
strong.
And then I think we had a baby discussion last week, and you were like, what? Probably on the show, or maybe like after, you said, what did you say? You said, "Oh, this is how like they keep their line going," or something. It was like a stupid throwaway line. Those things really made it easier to like, oh, okay. But the end of the episode doesn't make it any better. It's just now they're closer in age, right? But it doesn't make it any better because she's getting married to her cousin.
Her second cousin.
Cousin, bro.
Right. I mean, the only realistic marriage thing that has happened in the show is the fact that a royal marrying their second cousin is like
Yes.
normal.
I mean, the
like
queen,
actually marrying a 12-year-old
like family
was not common. What?
The queen, R.I.P. her. Isn't she married to family?
Yeah. Well, they're like they're dissing.
They're like, yeah, some distant family, but it's
yes,
you can draw the lines. Exactly. So these things, I mean, because what did I say last week that made you just throw the line away? It was something about. Was it something about her marrying her uncle? Something I said something. I don't remember, but it was kind of a stupid line. Now I wish I remembered it because you said what you said, and I was like, oh, okay, you know what? Oh, when was it Otto who said marry her or betroth her to Aegon, and I was like, yo, this is disgusting. Like that's her brother, and you were like, yeah, that's how that's how the line goes.
Thing. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what they do.
and so I was like, you know what? Even and then I was trying to help the writers by trying to understand the discussion they were trying to start.
Oh my god, that was worse.
Honestly, there's like 7. I know.
Was worse.
I know.
The interview was really bad. It was like D&D level bad. Like it was.
Like one thing the show is pushing is that men are fucking everything up, or starting to fuck everything up, and leaving it to women to clean up the mess. That's one thing.
Definitely, men are fucking everything up. I don't know if the show is arguing that women are going to clean up the mess,
or the women are just stuck. I think it's more so on the women are stuck.
That I think I agree with.
And it's men episode. Yes, and it's men just really fucking everything up. So yes, we got that out. So I think that's the conversation the show is trying to do, and this episode was literally that. And I was like, oh, that's the conversation from episode 1. So now I can
get behind that theme. Yes. I just cannot get behind. Like, there's so many things to talk about with like. I'm sorry. Can we just go back to that interview? Like, you watched the interview afterwards.
Oh yeah, the post the yeah. It was disgusting. Okay. It was wrong. It was.
Oh my god.
And it's a female producer. It was directed by a woman.
Yes.
I don't want to say this, but I'm like, I feel like she was there to have her name plastered to it.
Particularly the like, you want to do this sex scene from a female point of view, which
yes,
I get.
They
for
push that
the second sex scene. I get
the second. Like the Alicent one.
No, not the Alicent one. The one with her and Kristen.
So there's 3 sex scenes in this 100%. I'm behind that
show. There's the like gross but relatively tame Alicent, and
it was gross. And I think I'll say this. I like them, doing the thing back and forth, showing like one is semi like doing things of her will, right? She has the choice. Yes, quote unquote. I said semi, and then one just seemingly doesn't have a choice. The king has called you to his bedchamber. It's like midnight, bro. Like, what are you doing? Oh well, I guess I gotta go. Like, versus
it's her job.
Yes, versus, you know what? I want to explore my sexuality. I know. One more point was the conversation between again, the show's really trying to push this narrative like it's all the men's fault,
which is fair and true.
But do you know what conversation that out, like that's what they're trying to prove. But like it's like the thing with The Boys, right? The Boys is making fun of those guys, and then they end up like loving
Loving
it
it.
and
Yeah.
using it to like troll other people.
Hmm.
Versus Game of Thrones, you're gonna push this men are fucking up everything narrative. That's not the conversation you're gonna have. It's the conversation of, oh, Hollywood, woke. You're gonna inspire people a different way, and I just feel like that's what they're trying to do, and they're kind of not doing it well.
Well, all right. Before I go back on this, I want to lay my like interpretive cards on the table. Like
Right.
I find real like sexual relationships and sexual scenes, particularly in fiction, between characters with big age gaps and power dynamics, very morally reprehensible. And I
Yes.
know that the show is trying to say what Damon is doing is very reprehensible,
Yes.
but I don't think that that came across while watching it.
One hundred
And
percent.
I think it doesn't like, and they're trying to play it like I get what they're trying to do, but I just think they failed miserably. Like, and
Yes.
that interview really did it. One, when they say that we wanted to forefront abuse, which I did not get at all from the scene, the way it was
No.
shot.
No. The way we're shot. No.
The second, they were like, well, we wanted to try to make it complicated. Like, Damon is clearly a, I don't know if they use the term predator, but Rhaenyra is not innocent, which I'm like, okay. And then whatever they said that the reason why Damon couldn't do it is Rhaenyra was taking control. I was
Yes.
like, that I guess is that what happened? Like I was like, what the fuck was this?
Oh no. No. What was it? Taking control or
Like
enjoying?
she
It's
was into
something.
it.
She was
She was
into it,
into it, and he's like,
and
whoa. And it's
and
just like
it snatched Damon's power away. Like
away,
all
and
of a
it
sudden, I don't have any power over. Like this is not what I wanted. I wanted to, you know,
humiliate like
something.
something. I was just like the interview made it worse for me.
Hmm. Hmm.
And because like I was just like, this is gross. I need to take a shower. Like, why? What is the point of being like so weirdly explicit with this? That it's just so gross. And yes, it's fantasy. Yes, the Targaryens love incest. Yes, all of these things, right?
I
But
guess
it's still
looking at it,
gross.
yeah, looking at it is kind of different from like, I don't know, maybe
Reading
reading
it
it.
because I could just
Yeah,
not imagine these things when I'm
right.
reading it. It's
And
just like,
then
oh, that's
you,
something.
yeah, when you not imagine it versus like now they're like, it's like this.
It's like that,
The
yeah.
tape, right? Like
I
look,
literally threw
yeah.
my blanket over my face for part of it.
It
I was
was
like,
it
I
was it was
can't.
disgusting. It was disgusting. And then I think another thing they were trying to I mean, with the whole men are fucking up, it's like, or no, they're trying to do, but if it was men, it'd be different because Viserys says, oh, no. Damon goes, well, we were doing this, when we were young, and Viserys is like, but we're men,
Right.
and we were what, something. We were,
Well, we were
we're
young
men, and
men, and that makes it okay. And then he says to Rhaenyra, like, whatever you say about being, if you were born a boy, you could do these things. You weren't born a boy; you were born a woman.
yes, that's
So
another thing that we're trying to push. And I'm like, you can't do that after, like that's, I don't know. It was kind of backwards. It was very
it was
backwards.
weird. Like, how
It
am I
was
put this?
weird.
This show had like the theme that they were going for. I
Hmm.
think was in many ways like pretty well executed in some ways. I
Hmm.
particularly like the last final moment where he sends the moon tea, which is another classic trope from Game of Thrones involving women and sexual intercourse,
Right.
and it's like where he's basically like, I don't believe you, like you lied, like I don't care with what you said,
Hmm.
I don't
Hmm.
believe you, and I think that what they're trying to do, the ways in which like women's sexuality is prescribed, is a great theme of this
Right.
episode. And it's
Right.
done relatively tastefully. I think the Allison scene is a better example of how to do something that's gross, which is this old, gross man like demanding sex from this. I guess she's like 19 now or whatever, 17,
She's
18.
old. Yeah, she's older. I think a year older, or maybe two.
Yeah, like demanding sex from her after she's already given him two children, and it's like the middle of
Correct.
the night. He's just like, I'm horny. Let's do this.
Hmm.
Like that was tasteful, right? I
And
felt
then it was
and
amazing.
gross, but
It was
tasteful.
gross, but I mean, his boiling ass body,
Yeah,
his
but
two sawed off fingers. It was
tastefully
disgusting. It was disgusting.
tastefully
It was.
gross.
No, I think that made me want to. I think just the visuals of that just made me want to throw up. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I bought the whole Alicent was like, you know what? Fuck everybody. Let me do me for a second. I kind of bought that when she decided to leave the keep. Um,
Talking about Allison, or you're talking about Rhaenyra?
No, Rhaenyra.
Because you said Allison, so I was
Oh, I'm
just
sorry,
confused.
my bad. Rhaenyra. I kind of bought that. Like, I'm going to do me for a second. Fuck everything. Fuck all my responsibilities. I'm gonna do me. I think I bought it more so when she got back and was like, I'm still in this. I'm still in my fuck me mode. Like, hey, come in here, Kristen Cole. Like, yeah,
Well,
I'm about to
yeah.
use you right
I
now.
mean,
So
yeah. Well, I don't think she's about to use like
she had an
she
issue.
does. Like, I think it's a specific choice, right? Like in the
Yes.
book, I can now say this. In the book, like Kristen Cole and Rhaenyra as like an item is like more of a thing, right? Like the Damon stuff is more tied in with her wanting to seduce Kristen Cole.
Right.
And then
Oh,
and the rumor is that Damon like taught her. It's a classic George R. R. Martin. Like taught her how to have sex. He's like, oh yeah, you want to please this man? I will teach you how to do that. Right? It's like just like classic Martin. I think he does it in Main of Game of Thrones too, and that's what and so that she can seduce Kristen Cole. I won't go any further in explaining what the consequences of that are. I'm sure we'll find out in future episodes, right? But what's weird is that the show reverses that here, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like makes it about Damon,
right,
and Rhaenyra, and puts Kristen Cole as like the oh, my hot Tinder date didn't work out, so this girl I've got on like the back burner, I'm gonna call her up, right?
That
Like
was 100% it,
and
but from a woman.
From a woman's perspective, I use the male.
No. I'm sorry.
There, but
yeah,
it's the same thing, right?
Yes, pretty much.
And that was weird, but it made sense for like the character. And
wouldn't you argue she'll kind of use her position, or?
But I mean, yeah, I think she did.
Yeah,
but I think. But Cole was clearly into her.
Yeah, he is, but she used her position. She used their, will they, won't they. This guy is supposed to be like, not a eunuch. He's supposed to,
celibate. Celibate. He's supposed to be celibate.
He's supposed to be celibate. And she knows that. She didn't care much. And I think that when the king goes, Damon and Rhaenyra, they both have the dragon's blood. They're like the bane of my existence. I think he 100% sells the whole like they're the same person thing. Another theme this episode was trying to run with.
I think this episode was also. I am a little bit of fearful that they are going to run a little bit into what Martin did with the character of Rhaenyra. And there's been a lot of criticism even before the show of this. Mm-hmm. That Rhaenyra's character is primarily defined by her sexuality.
Ooh.
And this episode definitely leaned into that pretty hard.
Starts that, yeah.
And that's kind of like she wants to be queen for question mark reasons, which the show has definitely done. Like we still have not been given like a positive case for why Rhaenyra, like why we want as an audience, besides like we, as the rest of the 21st century. Right, we're in the 21st century now. I was about to say 22nd century. God, 21st century people. We want like a woman in power. That's awesome. We want more equality. But besides that, like we don't even get the Dany like I like freedom or whatever stuff, right? It's just like Rhaenyra wants power because she's the daughter of the dragon. And we haven't gotten a positive reason for that. And then this episode starts to double down on the question of Rhaenyra's sexuality and her sexual actions being the prime driver of her character, which fits, the themes that they really do want to like hammer home. This like women are constrained by this patriarchal structure.
Yes.
But I worry that that's all they're going to do with Rhaenyra, and that I think ends up making her character very one note in the way that she is in the book frequently.
So they could run into a book problem.
Yes.
Oof.
So, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, like Allison is way more three-dimensional in the show than she is.
Yes. Because again, I feel like you said you had mentioned in the book she's very like she's leaning more so to what her father's telling her.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And here she's pulled in three directions. Her father. I mean, it was amazing that's when she's in the room. When her father has to tell Viserys this crazy news, right? And then she again, it looks, up to this point, their friendship is getting better, right? They're becoming,
Hmm.
friends again. And then you cut from that to her, like the first person she talks to, instead of going to talk to her father when she hears this and go, she goes straight to her friend.
Hmm. Which would
And
have felt like a very realistic scene, actually.
yes, and then believes her friend, hey, nothing happened. I did go
Classic,
out.
classic.
Right. I did go out. I did get drunk. And it's starting to make her look at her dad like, okay, like you're being, like you're forcing to get the king to put Aegon on the throne. Like what is like it makes her like question her father's deal a little bit. I mean, it looks like it makes her question her father's deal, so that when she goes to the king and goes, but she goes to the king and I think almost says, why do you think I'm here? Or why, who do you think sent me to you?
Yep. I
But
mean, she
she,
definitely sets her dad up here. Like, I mean, she
yes,
definitely more clearly takes Rhaenyra and
yes,
Viserys's side
side, yeah,
in this episode. I do
yes,
think I liked the Alicent Rhaenyra stuff. It felt like it skipped a beat. Like this is like where I
we
wish we'd gotten a little bit more of them getting closer again than
right,
like
right,
the
yeah.
one
They
scene
just
where
jumped
suddenly.
from them, from last week's episode where she was not even trying to give her two sentences or
Mhm.
two words rather, and now they're holding hands and they're on
Friends again. Yeah.
on my dead mama,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
on
And
mothers.
when Rhaenyra said that, I was like, oh no.
I
So
laughed. I was like, yo, my
yeah,
dead mother, really? Okay.
yeah. I mean, that's like you really gonna invoke that? Like, okay, for your
But
life?
if you think
Okay.
about it, in episode 2, didn't she use her dead mother to do, oh, come and pray with me, like your mom used to, was wasn't that what
That's
she
what
did?
Allison said. Didn't Allison say that
Yeah,
to
I'm
Rhaenyra?
saying, so I'm saying, yeah, I think, she's done it once, now she's done it right back to her. So yeah,
Okay.
like because I thought about it, I was like, oh wait, she did use like that instead of telling her friend, hey, I'm gonna marry your dad, or your dad is in love with me, or I'm sleeping with your dad. It was more so like, um oh, I understand. Oh, not yet, not yet. I think
I watched Morbius.
I'm gonna watch it tonight, so I guess tomorrow, or no, Wednesday,
Tomorrow,
Wednesday,
Wednesday. Yeah, maybe. Yes, I
or
should
sometime
definitely watch
this
it Wednesday.
week.
Well,
Yeah,
definitely, yeah. Back to
yeah,
school night's Thursday, so
okay,
we'll have to do
because
She-Hulk really late
okay,
my
that's
time.
fine. So yeah,
But
Wednesday, drunk.
yeah,
You get
Wednesday.
that Wednesday. Yeah.
Yeah, Morbius is definitely a trip. It was definitely weird to watch Morbius in the morning and this
House of Dragon later.
House of Dragon at night, which I did. Well, we'll save what my feelings of Matt Smith's performance in Morbius are for
Okay.
later. But
Um,
I
I
think
will say one thing
actually, oh,
though.
go ahead.
His wig, he didn't use a wig this episode. They just,
Did he? Well, except for the time the wig was like this in the one scene,
oh
and then it
yeah,
was flat
yeah,
again. That was like, I was
yeah.
like, okay,
Because I think that was his hair.
was that actually his
It's
hair?
short. It's shorter.
Hmm.
It's definitely shorter. By the time, but because he starts off with the long hair, and then when he does his after he does the thing does with Viserys in the beginning, the next scene he, when he's like cleaned up, it's shorter.
Okay,
So,
sure.
all
I didn't
right.
notice, but yeah, I will. I definitely did not notice the wigs that much
Uh huh.
in this episode. That I will say it was,
Okay.
but we haven't seen like there were no Valerians in this one,
Yeah, there were
and
no Valerians in this one. I mean,
it's
Rhaenyra
all
is,
Valerian all the time next to
yeah,
Joffrey.
Rhaenyra looked good. It wasn't bad. It wasn't atrocious. It's been bad. Again, I give Viserys the benefit of the doubt that he's going through a lot. So there is just a physical, like that's how we can tell. I mean, outside of his fingers and his ugly boiled
Back,
up body. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
right. So yeah,
Um, I think the most interesting character in this episode was actually Alicent.
you know what? I think you should. I think
Yeah,
you
probably.
should. You'll get a. I don't know if you get a better experience, but you, if you save it to the end, you probably just understand a lot more. You see everything happen in real time, I guess.
I mean, yeah,
Versus,
it might make some of this stuff more palpable.
yeah, definitely. I
I'm
think
just
so.
amazed that we're not getting the time skip next week either. Like they just keep kicking it further and further down.
I know. Maybe
Like
we
those two
half
people
episode.
behind you right now, Mo, have not shown up. Like those
No, they haven't.
characters.
And I.
Except for Damon, I guess, who's right.
Oh yeah, he's right, but he's literally right behind me. But they. I think it might be a half episode thing because I thought it was gonna be by episode 4.
Me too. Every
gonna be,
episode, this is the second one. I've been like, next one's going to be the last
or
one.
maybe they save it for like second to last episode.
Then why did they like? It's just insane that like what was so weird when they were initially promoting the show was that they put all the adult actors like
on
up
the
front,
trailer.
like behind you with that promotional image you have there, and like much less with the kid. They're kids. They're fucking 19-year-olds, 37.
You are so
children.
sick of this
Like,
episode. I love it. That's why I said this was gonna be a good one because you're really letting them have it. Also, last week's interview, didn't they say something about like because time is changing and different actors? I felt like they said something about that.
They may have.
No, was it last week? Yeah, last week, episode 3 rather. Something.
Well,
Evan.
I think Matt Smith in some interviews said like he's like the actor who plays Rhaenyra when she's younger and the actress who plays Allison are like gonna go places.
Yes. Yes.
I think he said that in the last interview. I just
you really
so
hate you.
I really didn't. I really hated the middle. Like I would say that like it was more psychologically gross than like the physical grossness of the first episode. Like that was just physically repulsive.
Oh, the first episode was just atrocious.
And then this was just like emotionally and
yes, it was heavy. It was heavy. I'm glad we're gonna get Morbius and She-Hulk. Like,
I mean, well,
before Sunday,
huh? I could definitely use some She-Hulk after this.
Yeah, because it was something. But I still think this is the better episode of like this is one of the best episodes for the show. I think
I'm still on episode 2 being the best.
Yeah, episode. I figured. But you're in episode 2 with almost every fantasy show we're watching right now. So
well, that's fair. There's only 2 of them. So.
Right, with both fantasy shows.
I'm looking forward to this week's Rings of Power. I think like the trailer maybe be like, I think I'll like this one.
Right. I'm actually waiting for your A+. Your not even an A+, just a B episode. You've not episode.
I think
2?
I gave Ring of Power and House of Dragons second episodes B's.
Okay. So I guess
I don't think either's gonna give me an A unless like there's some very cool political stuff in House of the Dragon that they have not gotten to yet.
Will they get to it though?
Will they? I mean, I thought that Viserys was going to die at the end of the season. Like, spoiler alert, there's a civil war after he dies. I'm sorry if that truly blows your mind.
I mean, it literally wasn't a trailer for the next episode. Viserys is going to he wasn't just saying that. He meant it.
But Viserys is going to die. He can't die right away. There's still like huge, important things for the storyline in the book.
I know you're going to be sick if they skip all that. I just know because you were sick last week when they skipped the brother, or they still not even skipped. They just haven't mentioned him. Shouldn't he be in the picture by now?
He is in it. Harwin, he was the guardsman who like catches Rhaenyra and is like lets her go.
Right.
That's it. Strong. That's it. Keep him in mind again. I thought he was actually going to show up in this episode.
You were sick when he was just a name drop last week, and right now. So, what if they just decide to jump a lot or skip a lot? How would you feel?
I mean, okay,
maybe we shouldn't discuss future things now.
Yeah, we shouldn't discuss future things, but I will say there's a character that has not shown up yet, who needs time to mature. Who is like one of the most important characters in the entire Dance of Dragons. That will be / Fire and Blood's this story with Dance of Dragons. Like it is, this character is like one of the central characters.
And now I want to know who that is. I guess I'll wait till after the show to like probe.
It's not like a huge spoiler of who they are, but
maybe not. You know what? Let's save that for after the show. Let's just keep it for them. But yeah. So this episode dealt with was saying, okay, we're gonna do themes, right? We're gonna do a lot of themes.
Capital theme book report. This show does do book reports, unlike Game of Thrones.
Right. So a lot of themes happened. The theme at the end with the okay. By the way, I made you this little. We got you tea. So. Don't believe what you're saying. You're a woman and you need to stay virtuous. So okay. So you need to stay virtuous. And I think they kind of did that. I liked that theme at the end. Hey, you're still, I like that theme at the end. I like the whole a father's love theme as well.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this though, the when Viserys is in all black in the throne room when he walks out the shadow, I thought, okay, this is kind of a cool scene. That's
It
the
was a good scene.
hardest.
Very well done.
Yeah, that's the coolest I've ever seen Viserys look. Or he was angry, but that's the coolest I've ever seen him look. Also, this is episode 4. We have 6 more episodes. You don't think? You know what? I'll stop. He looked cool, so they did kind of dealt with the father's love. That was good
Mm-hmm.
as well. Like he found a reason to fire the hand, right? Because
Yes,
I think he
Otto
believed him.
outplayed himself here.
Yes, he 100% did, and I think he believed him, but he just couldn't have him. Like couldn't have him in his court again. He didn't feel safe with Otto, and then
Well,
used Balon 5 days, and as like, okay, this is why it's not necessarily daughter, it's because Balon, and now I can't trust you.
well, I think it was meant to be like, Otto, you've been kind of positioning yourself since my father died.
Yeah,
Like 5 days. Like you're just too ambitious for your own good. Like,
correct.
and because I think Otto rolled the dice here, right? Like he was
Hmm.
expecting Viserys to freak out, which he did do, but
Hmm.
he was expecting to freak out and name Aegon his
Air.
heir. But
Yes.
his like Viserys is like guilt. Right? I mean, he even says it, right? Like where he feels responsible for his white step, which because he is, like he murdered
Hmm.
her. And I think that continues to be the driver of like him sticking behind Rhaenyra.
Yes.
But Otto thought that he'd be like, oh yeah, of course, if I slut shame Rhaenyra, he'll dump her.
Yeah.
And the fact that
Yeah.
when he doesn't do
Overplay.
that, he's
Yeah.
and
Overplay his
himself
hand.
in. Like
Yes.
like both Otto and Viserys are pinned in, right? Like Otto has
Hmm.
now revealed that all he cares about is putting Aegon on the throne.
Yes.
And Viserys is not going to put Aegon on the throne, but his hand is going to constantly try to make that work. So he
Yes.
just outplayed, like
He
outplayed.
showed his hand a little too early.
Yeah.
A little too early, and yeah, it didn't work out for him. Um.
It was a well done, like, political situation, I think,
Yes.
actually.
Yes. That was, again, like, they did a lot of things great here.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of
Again,
like the first episode.
yeah,
I
even
like the
even
beginning and I
without
like the end.
right, even without showing us Allison's and Allison and Rhaenyra's like friendship becoming stronger again. It could also be, when they drop the line, hey, I don't have any friends here. That's probably why Allison probably continue for the year to reach out and try to, like, yo, I really don't have anybody. You can't leave me to do this by myself. So I can see that being the reason why Allison decided to like really be her friend, and also really believe her, because it's like, if I throw her under the bus again, or if I betray, or if I don't go on her side again, it won't be a good look,
Yeah. I mean, I
being,
think guilt also, like, saves
yeah,
Rhaenyra, both her father and her former
her
friend,
friends, yeah,
her friend's guilt towards, like, their
guilt,
treatment of Rhaenyra
yes,
and, like, what happened after her mother's death.
right,
Um, I think, though, we're going to get the big moment for Allison, right? Like, Allison has, like, sat on the fence.
hmm,
She followed her dad's, like, definitely not subtle, like, you need to seduce the king and marry him thing.
right,
But since then, she's kind of, like, tried to be on the fence, like,
hmm,
support Viserys, like, support her dad, and support Rhaenyra. But I mean,
yes,
as the trailer makes it clear, like, now she has to make a choice,
yeah,
right? Like once her dad is gone, she can no longer be like, well, I need to mediate between my father and the king
this,
and
yes,
the princess. It's now like, you're in charge of the entire high tower to cause in King's Landing. Girl, you got to shit or get off the pot.
yes,
And that I think is an interesting, because I do think Alicent is the most interesting character in the show. I
mhm.
think it's going, which is a weird thing I would have never said going into the show. Like, I don't mean that in like a
Slight, it's
slight.
just what you
It's just
know,
from the character in
yeah, yeah,
the book.
yeah. I too am excited to see that play out. I think, again, from the main trailers for the show, you see Allison be different, feel different, actually. Because as you said, they spent a lot of pre-show promotional money trying to, show the older characters. Like, that's what they spent a lot of the pre-show money doing, right? It's like, oh, we're gonna show you these two characters and show you how they are, you know, but this is really where they, this is how they get to this point. And I think that's what they were trying to do. I think that's what they are trying to do. It was like a bait and switch with the trailers. Um, is there anything else I'm missing? So, father's love, patriarchy, destroying the patriarchy. Want to talk about Damon and that scene? Okay. Before we talk about Damon, I think I'm going to talk about. I mean, we just talked about Otto, so I think I. Ooh, Miss Sarah, did she do anything? I mean, she shows up again. She is the what were they called in Game of Thrones? What was the eunuch? What did he, little bird?
Little birds, yeah. She's like the white worm, which I didn't actually
Yeah,
understand her motivation in this episode at
yeah.
all. Like
She
she
has
was
none.
mad at Damon, which kind of was set up in the second episode,
Yes,
but then she
and
didn't appear for two more episodes.
right,
And
and she's the outside of she left being the manager of the whorehouse to the dealer of information.
yes, which makes sense, but like it's one of those things where like the show's like, oh, she's clearly important in the future, but we don't have time to talk about her. So maybe when we do have time to talk about her, we'll explain more. But she's there and she did this thing, kind of
Hmm.
like, and it like why she bailed Damon out, like put him up. The whole like that whole sequence of like Damon waking up and what Damon knew he did or didn't know he did was really like unclear. Like if they like was Damon's intention to like humiliate Rhaenyra like that? If it was, why did he leave himself so vulnerable?
Vulnerable, yes, and I
Like
really thought he was just trying to he was trying to play her
me too,
until
yeah.
yeah, and I thought, okay, yo, he's really just trying to play her and make her look gross, and then but this is a gross way to.
Well, yeah, I mean, like
I
he kind
mean,
of lays it out when he has his encounter with his brother, where he's
mhm.
like, I think he wanted to
Wed her to
humiliate
me.
Rhaenyra to force her to get married to him,
Yes.
right? Then nobody would take her. But I just it was just a weird sequence. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. It took some jumps of logic to a really good scene, which was between the two brothers.
Yes.
But
Great
like, I
scene.
think the logic to get them to that scene was a little weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you told me in the books they're like brothers and enemies and like right or not even enemies, just like a thorn type thing, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. But this is like sharper than a thorn. This is a knife. Like
Yeah,
what?
I mean the scene.
Yeah.
I was really surprised. Like the scene in the book where Damon comes back, he comes in the middle of a tourney
Hmm.
and lands his dragon in the middle of the tourney, which I thought they were going to do, but I guess it's
Nah,
too expensive.
it's way too expensive
Uh,
because we got the tourney in in the first episode,
First episode,
and I
yeah.
think to build that again, I mean, why didn't you could have just used the sets, reshot some of those, used some of those images again, and then I guess, but
I guess,
this, yeah, him doing what and you know what really like killed me was the opening of the episode where the dragon clips the boat, the ship, right? And Rhaenyra holds her head, but then she does like this smile, like, okay. I was like, is she just happy to see Damon, or is that
well,
like a
I mean, apparently as this episode's up, she was quite happy to see Damon. I guess.
right? Like, didn't Damon just threaten to kill you like 2 episodes ago, like 3 years ago? Like, are you
I mean,
insane?
four. The show makes
Four,
clear
four,
4 years.
4 years ago,
Sure. I
right?
mean, 4 episodes, 4 years, I guess.
Yeah, and then she smiles, and I was like, "What?" And then what happened, and I'm like, "Oh, that was the smile." Like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you
Yeah.
kidding me right now, Renee? Like, honestly, I like the episode. I like the episode. Um, I like the themes. I think it handled the themes well. This was the first time that I think Viserys carried the episode. The actor, you know,
Mhm.
I mean, Rhaenyra does like. I feel like it's. I know. I feel like if we say Rhaenyra, but it's.
I'll be honest. Okay, I'll be fair.
I think
She's an
Rhaenyra
excellent
just.
actress in this.
Yes, the actress is just. That's. I think that's now we're 4 episodes in, and there's not anything we could be like, oh yeah, she was never the. It's. I think it's a given till when she leaves, and then we might have like, okay, this person this week, but I think, if I just say like she's untouchable, like she's the GOAT, she's Jordan, I think Viserys this episode was LeBron James. It's like he really
Wow, you just laid your cards on the table there, Mo, with the metaphor.
this episode though. I don't know about the next. I think
Well, I'm just
Otto
saying that
was.
he's saying Jordan is better than LeBron. Like that's
No,
just
I'm saying that for the people, but it's definitely like LeBron Jordan. I mean, for me. So
okay. Well,
I
again, either
our
way,
our
you're making
comment section
somebody
is gonna.
angry.
Yeah, I know. It's like I feel like the LeBron people aren't as much. The Jordan people way more in my
Oh
mind.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
also my experience.
So that like she's like the GOAT and she's untouchable, and if I feel like everyone else has to like, and I think this episode alone, Viserys, like the actor, like really carried a lot of his scenes too, because he had the scene with Allison, and I thought that was an amazing scene together, where Viserys was like, Allison was like, but she's my daughter, like, I mean, she's my friend, I believe her, and his acting in that scene was just amazing. Also the awkward bath scene.
That was awkward. I mean, I think the most well executed version of the themes that they were trying to do in this episode
Right.
was Allison.
Okay.
I think they made, in my opinion, maybe I'm just completely out of touch with the culture, and I'm too easily made extremely uncomfortable by gigantic
Right.
age gaps and power gaps between
Right.
people engaged in a sex scene. But the Daemon and Rhaenyra stuff was just too much for me. Like it just
No,
overwhelmed what they were trying to say with Rhaenyra.
I 100% get it. Yeah,
And
especially knowing that they could have in the material, in the source material, there's like ways around that. There's
yes,
way like it could have been a rumor.
yeah, that was what
right?
I actually thought they were going to do. Like I thought they were going to do the Daemon.
They could have just showed them in the thing and cut out, and it just be a rumor,
Mm-hmm. And we could have spared my soul some permanent damage.
So like,
thankfully, I don't believe in souls.
So. Okay, well, but no, outside of that egregious thing, I think this was a really, really solid episode. Like,
yeah, I mean, again, it feels like the first episode for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I enjoyed the beginning, and when I came to at the end of towards the end of the episode, I was also like, okay, like I'm buying what you're selling here. But like I just can't get behind this being like
the visuals, right?
episode, like
But I think that's. So now let me ask you this: do you think this is the precedent that they've done it twice now? Do you think this is what we're gonna get, like moving? Or is this the end of the gross stuff? I mean, from your knowledge,
no, it's definitely not the end of the gross stuff. Okay, but it did. I mean, it's George R. R. Martin. Like the man cannot help it. The man literally cannot help himself. No, like he can't with this stuff. Twincest is wincest, all that sort of stuff that he's just obsessed with. It again gave me less faith that they will be able to handle in a way that I find respectful to human decency and respectful to Martin's source material.
Right.
Like future stuff that they're gonna do.
So you think this is it? This is what we're gonna get all the time.
What we're gonna get, I think. Which is not. I mean, I will definitely continue watching this season. I mean, we'll see if I can jump off. If all the episodes are gonna be like this, it's just not good for my mental health.
I think it's gonna be like one or two episodes in between, because we got episode
kind of like Game of Thrones was
2 and 3, and then 4, 5 and 6, and then 8.
Well, I mean, to be fair, every episode of the show has been more engaging than the filler episodes of Game of Thrones. So,
right.
I would say that the overall quality on individual episodes is higher than GOT, but I would say that the highs have not been as high as pre-season 6 or 7,
right?
Game of Thrones.
Okay, last question before I ask you your grade. Are we gonna get a scene that's gonna be it's not jarring, but as jarring and as water cooler talk as the Red Wedding?
Yes and no.
Okay, are we gonna get a scene that's as jarring as For the Watch, or better?
He better like than John. We're talking about John getting stabbed, right?
Yeah.
Um, the final fate of a couple of characters is very epic, high fantasy,
Okay.
and cool if they do it. There's some like really, there's some really intense battles and twists in the political situation. I don't think anything really tops the Red Wedding, on except for like one scene that I can think of that is going to require a lot of work to pull off. But if they pull it off, it could easily be
Red
like
Wedding level, or
up there with the Red Wedding. I don't think it ever like because like you're just so attached to Rob, and
yeah,
the
but we
show
don't.
like goes out of your way to make it even grosser than it was in the book with stabbing the pregnant lady,
Oh
which
my
does
god.
not happen in the book. The book is gross and full of horrific stuff that happens, but them literally stabbing Rob's pregnant wife to death, it's just like, again, it's extra like,
Didn't they drag the knife? You know what?
yeah,
Whatever.
it's just it's
It's gross. And then they
yeah.
slice his mom's throat.
Well, that's in the book, but she comes back.
Wait, isn't she? Yeah. Did she never came back in the
They
show?
cut all of that stuff. Very,
Which is
very, very
crazy. I
controversial.
know that's a huge storyline. Like, I know
I
that
mean,
one.
and what it tells me is that storyline goes nowhere in the books, which I actually completely buy. Like, because it feels like it's going nowhere in the books. So,
Yeah, because he never completes the books, right? So
these books have not been completed. Now there's
yeah,
he
so he's
says
like,
there's another one coming out sometime
no,
soon. Trademark question mark.
right. And then they also make his they also made the Baratheon kid for the show. So those are two things that
Edric? No, they just changed him. He's in the books. He's just different.
Oh, okay.
Like I mean, he exists, but he definitely doesn't. I mean, Arya's like even younger than she is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Edric Storm.
So yeah, so that's what I wanted to ask. Like, will we get something on that level from this books?
I think there's opportunity. I don't think anything will ever top the Red Wedding, which remains like
right now we don't. Honestly, wasn't it by half of the first season we get to still kind of like start falling in love with with Rob? It was in the first season, right? I mean, he was
falling in love with Rob, and then like I mean, Rob is cashing checks that Ned wrote, right?
Yeah,
that's
he's
kind of
like
Rob's thing.
Yeah, he's also like an asshole. Like the first episode with the wolves, dire wolves.
Yo, to Tyrion, yeah,
yeah, and to John.
Is he? I don't remember that.
Yeah, when they find the dire wolves, and he's like, you know what, you get the runt.
Oh yeah, he does. I don't remember that being in the books. I don't know. It's been so long since I have reread either the first Game of Thrones book or.
And so this is what I'm thinking. This is how we do this, right? Because I feel like trying to compare this to the other fantasy show going on doesn't try. Like they're both fantasy shows, but like this and that are not the same show. So I'm thinking we start to compare House of the Dragon to Game of Thrones for just to match something up, because elves, orcs, especially
well, there's no orcs in this.
Yeah, it's orcs that can't come out during the day, even with the Listen, you know what? Let me not do that. But no, thank you, Roy.
You didn't ask me what my grade was.
Oh yeah. You see, I forgot to do that with the last show we did. What's your grade on this one?
Got it. You want to guess? What do you think my grade's gonna be?
C-.
D.
I was being generous. I was definitely going for D, but I was like, nah, he's gonna say C-.
Nope, it's a D. I like it's an F.
It's that
like
middle.
If I just turned it off, it would have been an F. But I kept watching.
But it I wouldn't say it made up, but it figured itself out towards the end.
I wouldn't even say that. I would just say that it's sandwiched. It was a shit sandwich. Is what this episode was.
C+.
Good bread, garbage in between.
It's a C+ for me because of that middle. I mean, I just feel like there was just because I called it, and because I've said to myself, this is just how they do these things, right? It's just what they do, and I'm telling people, like, this is what they. This is how the Targaryens are gonna Targaryen. You keep throwing out this is just George R.R. Martin lives for this. Like, you keep throwing that out. So it's really helped me just because
I'm
I'm
glad I can
watching
help you
that.
process it, Mo.
No,
I'm
no,
glad.
no. I'll be very honest, and I was maybe it's in my head. I'm like, yo, they're really focusing on her chest this episode to show that she's grown, right? Because it didn't.
Thanks for pointing that out. You're right.
I'm
Jesus.
sorry. I'm sorry. That was something that was like, yo, this is weird to me. Like, why do they keep doing? I'm like, oh.
Because that's where we're going. That's where we're going.
Okay. Well then, okay, I get it. I guess it's Targaryens, and then go in the chat. Targaryens are gonna Targaryen. I'm like, you know what? And then you said it 6 times this episode. George R. R. Martin loves his, and so
He
yeah,
just
I'm like,
can't. He can't help himself.
Right. And so I'm like,
It's
okay,
like nipples on a breastplate and dusky women's nipples and incest and twins set. He just can't stop. Like it's. I feel like if you were in like a writing workshop with George, he would be like,
yeah,
not enough incest. I love your manuscript. Not enough incest.
right.
Not.
And so like I'm like, this helped. It helped. It just helped me make it easier. Like it's a gross pill. It's a we've all tasted those pain pills that were disgusting, or like the pain powder. It's gross. It's disgusting. No one should put this in their mouths. Like, no. But I'm like, oh, that's a little bit of juice. Or you take a really big shot,
Oh,
and then you get this much chaser. Yes,
that is a metaphor, my friend. Not
that's
quite as
the
good
one.
as your LeBron Jordan one, but
No,
that is a metaphor.
I've that's 2 for 2. But no, Roy, thank you,
Always.
because when you threw it in the chat, I hadn't seen it yet, but I'm like, oh, this is gonna be crazy. And then I watched, and I'm like, this is gonna be a fun episode.
I hope it was. I was looking forward to discussing it.
Yes. Was once, because you've thrown a review or a line or two for like last week's episode. You did that. You're pretty okay with your lines, but you really was like, I have to go to shower. and I know like seeing the C-section in episode 1 and the nuts on the slab.
That was
like physically seeing it.
Keep bringing that up, yeah.
I'm sorry, physically, like actually looking at it should do irreparable damage.
I mean, it's why I keep bringing it up. Or we're like, you know what brings a power? At least no one's dick got cut off. So
it should do irreparable damage. But I feel like this is the one, like that, that took you to the point, right? And this one just said, and they just said, it's like you're pouring water in the cup. It's full or it's halfway full, and then you pour, episode 1 happens, and then is at the lip. You're watching episode 2 like, okay, my cup is still out here, and then they go bam. This is the one that spills it for you, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, if this was just a show I was watching cold, I would have jumped off at this episode. If it didn't have any of the extreme baggage that being a Game of Thrones, like it being basically Game of Thrones 2 is, and what that means for me, and what that means for the cultural networks that I run in, and like I would not watch. I've stopped watching shows for far less than what this show is in this episode, and the C-section. So,
C-section is just visceral. It was a lot.
But I mean, again, I am happy to be wrong. I have my own particular hangups about the Daemon and Rhaenyra stuff and finding it extremely gross, even in the context of the fiction set up by George R. R. Martin.
Wow.
Do not like scenes like that at all. It's just gross. Like, I just, no. Like, and yeah. So, well, sorry to come back to that because I just can't.
It's fine. Thank you, Roy, again. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit / that like button and subscribe, or Drakkar is it? I don't know. I'll figure it out by next week.
Nothing's as good as what we have.
No, nothing's as good as Smash. I have my water, by the way, but yeah.
No, this is not a thirsty episode. So.
No, it's not. I don't even want to think in that direction.
No. Right? This is the kind of episode that makes you not want to have sex again.
No, listen, Anyway, we'll catch you next week for episode 5 of House of the Dragon season 1.
Same dragon time, same dragon channel.
Yes.